Hi, it's Lynn, your Freedom Financial Coach. Today I want to talk about frugality is freedom. Sometimes when people think about frugality, they think about themselves being under a blanket in a 55-degree house, cold, eating a can of pork and beans because that's all they're going to buy, miserable, austere existence. But that's not what frugality means to me. Frugality means freedom. Absolutely, it means freedom to me. There's many ways in which frugality can mean freedom, but the way I think of it most is in time. Let's say you make $10 an hour and you're going to the store and you want to buy a crock pot, and that crock pot is, say, $29.99. That's 3 hours of your life that you will spend working in order to buy that crock pot. And depending on what you may make, $15 an hour, $20 an hour. You translate it into that. It really brings it home that I'm going to have to work this long to make this payment on this item. That's why I like garage sales and thrift stores, because when you think about it that way, let's say that you want to buy that crock pot and you see this crock pot at a thrift store and it's $5.99 and you're making $10 an hour. It's the same crock pot maybe, or very similar to it than what you would have bought at Walmart. But if it cost you $5, that's half an hour of your time that you would spend, rather than the 3 hours that you would spend if you bought it at Walmart. It's a really interesting way to think about it. Let's look at it as if you were going to buy a new refrigerator, which cost $1,000. Let's say you make $15 an hour. And let's say we're just going to pull a number out of a hat and say 5 years you're going to pay on this. The salesman comes over to you and he says, that's only going to be $24 a month. And you're like, oh, I can handle $24 a month. And that's the way they like to sell it to you, in how much is it going to cost you per month. But I'd like you to change your thinking to a thunk. Stop thinking about how much it's going to cost you per month, and start thinking about how many hours of your life you're going to spend on this item. That refrigerator, $24 a month. But that's 5 years. I took the term and I put it 5 years. Maybe it would be 3, maybe it would be 2. But I decided on 5 years for this exercise. And if you paid on it for 5 years, you would have paid a total of $1,488 if you paid 16% interest on it. So let's think about that as far as hours of your life. Originally, you thought, okay, $1,000, it's going to take me 67 hours of my life at $15 an hour. But in reality, because you're paying on it for 5 years, that'll take you 99 hours of your life. So you see what I mean when I say stop giving your money to the rich. You're paying all that interest on this item, even though it's only $24 a month. All that interest on this item for all those years. So instead of it taking you 67 hours of your life, it's taking you 99 hours of your life. So if you bought a used refrigerator for cash, you'd be so much better off in hours of your life as to what you would pay on that item. And some people just don't want to buy used. And that's okay. I mean, that's some people were raised, differently, thinking differently, and I get that. But if you decide that, you really want to have something new and you can't tolerate used items, think about it in hours of your life. Can you pay cash for that item instead of putting it on a credit card and making it last for such a long period of time? And of course, also, if you're going to buy used and spend many less hours of your life than if you bought new, it's also just going to cost you a lot less hours of your life. You're not going to be you're not going to be giving your money to the rich at all, because when you buy used, usually you're going to be paying in cash. When you think of your life as hours selling time in order to pay things for you want or need, and turn these thoughts around, you can see that any time you save money on something, those are hours of your life that you do not need to sell in order to get what you want. You can use, in the instance of this refrigerator, if you were going to pay $1,000 in cash versus $1,488 on a credit card, you could use that extra $488 for anything you want. Pay down other debt with that $488. That would be a great idea, because that would get you closer to financial freedom. Once you get your head wrapped around this idea, you may actually find yourself wanting less, or wanting to look for things used. Wanting less is one way to having more freedom to do what you want. Another way is finding ways to save money or make money. If you make $10 an hour, let's say, at your job, and you save $30 clipping coupons, and the time it took clipping coupons was a half an hour, you save $25 or 2.5 hours of your time that you would had to otherwise spend on your job making money for the same things. So what I'm saying is $30 in coupons. You saved that money. It took you half an hour. And if you make $10 an hour, then that was $5 that you would have had to work on your job. You would have made $5 in that same amount of time clipping those coupons. But if you saved $30, that would have been 3 hours that you would have had to work at your job in order to get the same amount of money. Plus, when you save money on coupons, you don't have to pay taxes on that money, which is even better yet. So it kind of gets to be exponential if you live frugally in many different ways in your life, clipping coupons, buying for less, buying used. You're saving money. You're not just not giving your money to the rich by not paying interest all the time. You are also spending less hours of your life, and you're not paying taxes on that money, because every time you work for somebody else and you make $30, you have to pay taxes on that. They say that we pay taxes like through May of the year. Like, if all of the money that you make in a whole month or in a whole year, we work through May just to pay taxes, and then the rest of the year we get to keep that. So if we can keep more of our money by saving money, not working for somebody else and having to pay taxes on it, we're actually making money that way too. It does get to be exponential when we start looking at it this way. I read a book recently that said, "We can't retire, we went out to eat instead." And that's true for a lot of people. The same concept applies with frugality and freedom. The more money you save, the less you have to work, the less you feel stressed about the money you don't have. This means freedom, perhaps to work a part-time job instead of a full-time one. It could mean staying home with your kids. It could mean the freedom to start your own business. It could mean the freedom to retire early. But what I love about the concept of saving time, we all wish we had more time, and so many of us feel like we are in such a rat race in this world, always running, trying to keep up, so tired, wishing we had more time to do things. I believe that if people could understand, to wrap their mind around the idea that everything they buy costs them a certain amount of time, I really think that people may want less. So this is part of changing your thinking to a thunk. It's so funny in our society, because we're conditioned, and I think we're conditioned by television, maybe ads, that oh, we want this, we want that, and we're surrounded by people at work, and it's just a cultural thing where everybody's like, oh, I want this, I want that, I gotta have this, I gotta have that, and then we feel stressed because we don't have as much time as we want to have, we don't have as much money as we want to have, we worry about how we're going to pay for our bills, when if we could think differently and just, wow, I really don't need that $1,000 refrigerator. I could buy this refrigerator used for $400. And I'm just pulling these numbers out of the air, you know. But how much better would it be for people to have so much less stress in their life? This is why I say frugality is freedom. It's really freedom. And we're conditioned to think frugality is, oh, I'm miserable, I'm cold, I'm eating beans, I can't have anything. All of my friends, they have this and they have that, and I don't. But what you will have if your friend has this great, wonderful refrigerator, dishwasher that matches, and all these things, and they have all of this, but you don't know what it's like for them when they go to sleep at night. Are they wondering how they're going to pay their credit card bills? Sometimes we put on a face that's not really real, but frugality is freedom. It means options. It means empowerment and taking your life into your own hands, rather than feeling like you have to do things a certain way. It all adds up. All the money adds up. And when it adds up, it means you have the power to do what you want more than you thought. You have the power to change your life. Change your think into a thunk. Thanks for listening.